Excellent.
Howdy, howdy.
All right.
Lakers Twitter is pissed at the Suns. I think the Suns are pretty.
They can
They
die
don't
mad.
like the Lakers. It seems. Um,
They can die mad about it.
you know what I've noticed about NBA fan bases? It
That
seems
they're
like
mostly
the
the
better
same.
the team, the less fun they have on Twitter during the season. Your
Yeah.
team will. I'll watch a team get like 50 something wins, and the fans are just like mad about everything, every game, and they're never winning by enough, and they're never getting enough respect. And
I've
it's to
some
watch.
Lakers fans more mad at the Lakers than the Suns. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to is a lot of Lakers fans are just I saw a lot that were just kind of glad the season was over. Like I feel like a lot of Lakers fans were just like, let's get out of here,
Yeah,
man.
it's like no one wants to see the Lakers. It's like, dude, I don't know. I'm pretty. I mean, I'm a pretty big LeBron guy, but even I got to be realistic at a point. It's like, how many positive role players do they have on that team? Even if Anthony Davis was going to magically be healthy and LeBron was going to magically be healthy, not many.
Not many. And it's maybe Melo. It's like maybe maybe Melo.
Austin
Some
Reeves, I'd put in there.
Austin
Malik
Reeves.
Monk is also not bad, but it's like also Vogel is not a strong coach, and they can't stay healthy. And Westbrook wasn't a good fit, and it's just such a big combination of things that killed him.
Yeah, one of the biggest disappointments of all time, probably this Lakers team.
I got to be
And
the biggest, maybe the
I,
biggest,
I
dude.
mean, I can't think of a bigger one in my lifetime. You could, it's
I mean,
tough. Like a
what were
big three of that caliber. I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the season how the fit and how the three work together is a little questionable. But I mean, my take was like, there's just so much talent there that they'll find a way to make it work. Like it'll LeBron makes the playoffs every single year. Like there's just no way he misses with even if the fit's not great with two other bona fide superstars around him. So that was my take.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of a big three like that. Maybe like the Nets with KG and after they made that big trade.
But I don't even. I mean, that team
But that
got to
team
the second round.
fair.
Am I
Yeah,
or am I?
fair.
I guess with
No,
the
I think you're
Lakers,
right
I
that
don't
they
want to
didn't
call
make
the
the second
Lakers
round.
with LeBron the biggest disappointment because they won a title.
Right.
But this
This
Lakers team in particular, I can't think of a bigger one. And
just
it's a lot of things with them. I think at the end of the day, you weren't wrong if you thought that there was a way that Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook worked together. But the Lakers did not do what they needed to do. It's like, oh, we got to make sacrifices. Oh, we'll make it work to have this big three. Okay, fair enough. And then they didn't. I mean, I feel like I've said this maybe like 5 times, but signing Rondo after you got Russell Westbrook just doesn't make any sense. It's like if you have Westbrook and LeBron, what do you need? Well, you need, more. Where are the 3 and D guys? Where are the guys who are going to buy in and be the role players? You had a couple of guys, and granted, you were missing, a guy like Kendrick Nunn, who is kind of a big joke right now. It's like, oh, if they had Kendrick Nunn, that would have saved them. Obviously not, but he would have been nice. He's a really good player. It would have been nice to have. And then, you have guys who just can't space the floor like DeAndre Jordan, and then Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. And it's just a lot of signings that were signed more for the name than what they actually did. And then even when they had Austin Reeves, I mean, he was getting like DNPs a couple games ago, and he's one of their better role players.
Yeah, it just feels like a big miscalculation on the part of whether it's LeBron or whether I don't it's I do place some of the blame on maybe James because it did feel like they were signing old players that he has a lot of faith in, whether that be Rondo, whether that be DeAndre Jordan, whether that be Dwight Howard and all these guys who normal teams probably wouldn't have a lot of interest in signing, like putting all those guys together. But LeBron, I think, is like, when you're a player and you've been around guys for a long time, you start to trust them, right? That's how any job would work is like these guys are been in it for a long time. And I think like it was just kind of a miscalculation on their part and overconfidence in their own skill set that these old guys are still at the top of their game, because that's, you convince yourself of that, and you convince, like, that the guys you like are still good. And it was just kind of an overconfidence on the part of everybody involved. I do think LeBron is part of that, but obviously he's not actually the GM, and
It's like
just an overconfidence in like, I don't know, just the ages. It
like
was just, yeah.
it seemed like every move was something like, we can make this work, and that you
Yeah.
can't have everything be like that. You can't. It's like they were the oldest team in 2020, like and the league, and they still won a championship. So being old is not a problem. Well, that's not the case. You do need youth. You do need to be young. You do need to have guys with fresh legs, and they didn't. And I mean, and then also on top of that, I mean, LeBron has missed a lot of games this year. Anthony Davis has missed a lot.
I
Of
don't think
games this year.
LeBron's going to qualify for the scoring title. I don't think that he's going to play these next 2 games. I just don't.
No, I think Embiid's pulling away a little bit, and he's like, well, I'd have to go drop like 60. And it would look so, I mean, it would look so much like he was stat padding. And granted, I'm not anti stat padding, but
no. Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
playing these next 2 games. Yeah, it's over. It's embarrassing to be out there, and you can't win in that situation if you're LeBron, because if you lose, it's just worse. But if you do good, it's like, let's get the young guys some time and close up shop. He's not playing again this season. I feel very strongly about that. I'm seeing some chat dialogue about, can the Suns win a title without a top 10 guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were up 2-0 in the finals last year. That was not I mean, Giannis went absolutely crazy after that, but it's not, if you run that simulation 100 times, they win it. They don't like lose the finals every time. They're certainly capable. And it's like, yeah, they don't have a top dude, but like, Booker's getting up there, man, when it comes to top 10. Like Booker's been ridiculous recently, and he was ridiculous against the Lakers again last night. So it's not like they have no talent. And it's like, I don't know. It's like you need a top 5 player. I mean, yeah, that's technically how it works, and how it works a lot of the time. But I think, again, the comparison you keep using for them and is the Spurs and like the later Spurs teams. And I don't think, was Tim Duncan like a top 5 player in the NBA on the back end of his career like that? Maybe, but probably not.
On like the 2014 Spurs?
2014, 2015 Spurs. No, absolutely not. But they were still like, Kawhi was like not that dude at that point, but they were well built and they had a lot of vets. And it's like, that's the mold that the Suns are in, more than like the LeBron James Cavs mold or the Bucks.
It's a rare mold. I get why people are like, is this, really a legit team? Because most teams like that don't work. It's hard to win like that. But the Suns are also really good, and they have like 60 something wins right now. Yeah. Tim Duncan in the 2013-2014 season was not an all-star even. Right. I mean, he was still a good player, but
yeah, I wonder how many MVP, how many all-stars they even had in that case that year. I guess I don't know off the top of my head. But at any rate, that's like the mold that they're in. So you guys are saying Mikhail's the next Kawhi? I don't think he's the next Kawhi, but he's certainly comparable, I think. I mean, he's got defensive player of the year hype. He can score from anywhere. He's got a deeper and deeper bag every single year. And he's a really nice kind of third scorer, even fourth behind Ayton, but he's a really good scorer and just a lockdown, versatile defender. So it's like, is he going to have the ceiling that Kawhi's got? Probably not. But as far as his role and like the way he functions on that team, like, yeah, he can be a Kawhi variant. I think that I mean, you look at his efficiency, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Plus, on top of the defense, he's really good. He's really, really good. 0 all-stars. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely they can win. Definitely, they're not just a second round exit because they don't have a Giannis, they don't have LeBron. Also in the West, they're not really going to have to go through a Giannis or a LeBron. How many top 10 players are they going to play? Like Curry, maybe. Yeah, but outside of that, it's like Ja. I don't know. Ja is top 5. So it's not even like there's this dominant super team in the West right now that you even got to watch out for, like like a Giannis or
No. I mean, all
Embiid
things
or
considered, this is the year to do it for the Suns.
right.
This is as easy as it's gonna get.
Yes.
This is as you are head and shoulders above everyone else. You're the one overall seed. You're gonna have home advantage through everything. Everyone's getting healthy. Like, yeah, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it now.
Yep. They have to. They have to. Anything else would be a massive disappointment, even
Do you
losing
think
in the
they will?
finals. I think they have the best odds. I wouldn't say it's like above 50% that they
So you
will,
think
but
they won't?
I guess I don't know. I think I think they have the best odds of any team. It might be like 40 for them, 20 for someone else, 10 for
So you
someone like, but I'm kind
so
of
you think they
hedging here.
will?
My expectations are they do. That's my expect. So yeah, I do think they will.
I think
Anything, I think they will. That's I guess what it's coming down to. Like I understand that um it's difficult, but yeah, that is my expectations that they do. If they don't, I wouldn't be like, well, it wasn't. I didn't actually think it was happening this year. I do think that it's happening this year because they're the best team. They have the best odds. I do think that they will win. They are my pick. And that's the expectations they deserve too. That's not me being being irrational. Like
no.
they
I mean,
deserve.
if you are the number one overall seed, saying that you should win it all is not an unreasonable take. I think.
Right. No. Yeah. You have to think that they're going to win it all. You have to expect that from them. So absolutely.
There's like
Absolutely.
5 teams in the East that can take down the Suns. What would the dude like? Someone earlier said like, "Oh, the Nets. How far do you think they'll go?" It's like, dude, I am not a Nets hater, and I was hyping them up, and then it just hasn't quite been clicking for them recently. They have to win back-to-back elimination games to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah. I
easy.
mean, it looked good when Kawhi was coming back, but Kawhi is not told. Kawhi, Jesus. Kyrie. I'm reading Kawhi's name in the chat right now, but yeah. I don't know. If the Suns see one of the teams with a real dominant big, they're cooked. Well, they swept the Nuggets an injured Nuggets team, but they swept the Nuggets, and Jokic was not anything out of control there. Ayton was playing very well in the playoffs up until Giannis. Yeah, going up against a Giannis again would be tough, but the depth is a little bit better. I'd rather have JaVale on him than Kaminsky, and they're
I'll
getting
give you that.
Kaminsky and yeah. And it
I'll give
looks
you
like they
that.
might get Dario back or Kaminsky back. It's maybe. But like I don't know. You definitely would rather if I'm a Suns fan, I would rather them see someone without a dominant big man come out of the East, maybe like I don't know, the Celtics. I would rather see someone that I don't know. I don't even know if I want to see the Celtics, but
I um
it's
I don't know. There's probably nobody. You're not going to get someone out of the East where it's just like perfect,
the
awesome. Like this is
Bulls.
easy. Yeah.
I love it if the Raptors made it out of the East with no center. That would be awesome. That's my dream matchup.
Well, I mean, if you really want like the matchup with the least threatening center, you got to be cheering for my Hornets, man.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's get that Suns Hornets finals.
The Hornets are a few years away, I believe, but I don't know. What's Philly's future?
Right.
I don't know, dude. I
I
have mixed
think
feelings about Philadelphia. I don't really trust them with Doc Rivers. I'm afraid Doc Rivers is I he's earned the reputation he's had a little bit here.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's Philadelphia. I don't know what to expect. I might be a little bit higher on them than a lot of people are because it's like I think of pandemic P. I think of playoff Paul George and how much slander he was getting only for him to just put the Clippers on his back last year. And it's not like it wasn't a deserved slanderous label to give him because he really was playing poorly, but he came back and had a great playoffs. Or like Chris Paul, a known choker, to drop like 40 something in an elimination game and carry a team to the finals. Like that's a little bit off brand from his playoff reputation. Or even Giannis last year. Can Giannis carry a team on his back by himself, or just he just not have that deep of a bag and he's too easy to shut down? Those are all narratives and it happens almost every year where it's like, oh, this guy can't get it done. And then maybe they don't win the finals, but they get it done. And it's not like the narratives were undeserved, but they really can change in an instant. So with and the 76ers have a long, like, Doc Rivers is not just a one-time thing, like not one bad, like Paul George off the side of the backboard. It's not, it's a little bit deeper than that, but they have had a really good point differential since the All-Star break. I mean, they have at times looked, especially when Harden first got to Philly, they were really balling, and they beat the Heat with just Maxey. If the 76ers were the last team standing in the East, I wouldn't surprise me. That's all I got to say. I don't know if I'm picking them, but it wouldn't surprise me.
That could surprise me a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not. I understand. Like, are they talented enough to be a finals team? Absolutely, but you've got some serious, like the Doc Rivers thing. It's like with Paul George, he had kind of had like a shot hit over him against Dame, and then had a bad playoff series. And it's like, all right,
yeah.
With Doc Rivers, outside of the 2008 Celtics, dude, this has been cooking up for a couple decades. So, I mean, he's blown 3-1 leads. This has been, and I don't know.
Right. It's a little bit like Mike McCarthy. He's a little bit like Mike McCarthy, honestly.
Yeah,
He's
it's like
the
dude,
NBA
I just don't trust them. Who's your pick out of the East? I mean, it's got to be Milwaukee right now. I don't mean to be lame. I wanted to be interesting and go Nets or Heat, but it's got to be Milwaukee. I think Giannis has been his same old self. I think that team is pretty much doing the same stuff they were last year, and I don't know. I trust Giannis more than anyone else right now. Maybe it would be the Nets if they were like firing on all cylinders right now, even if they were an 8 seed, but they have to win multiple elimination games just to start out. And it's like, I know I'm not going to pick them to lose either of those games, but LaMelo Ball has the opportunity to end their season as far as I'm concerned.
Is it a hot take to say Chris Paul is greater than Nash all time? Nash has what, 2 MVPs, correct?
Chris Paul is better than Nash all time.
Yes, that's the only thing makes me hesitate, is saying that. But Chris Paul, I mean,
Chris Paul better.
He just had a stat like yesterday that he has led 4 teams to their best record of all time. He's been the point guard for 4 different franchise best seasons and the Suns are not some bottom of the barrel franchise either, like they've been to the finals 3 times. So I
will say a couple of those teams, Clippers and
that's
New Orleans.
Clippers is not that.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fraudulency with those two, but like the Rockets have won a finals, haven't they? I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon was there for years and years and years. They're not some total bum squad, and then like Yao was there for a long time. Like they've put forward some good teams, and T-Mac and Yao, and so yeah, there's definitely 2 kind of Mickey Mouse ones there, and then 2 legit ones. But still, he's really good. Chris Paul has led 4 teams to their.
I mean, it's the never championship thing, and it's never MVP thing. But like in 2008, he was playing like an MVP, and they were giving Kobe the Lifetime Achievement Award that year, because the narrative was that Nash had robbed them back to back, which I don't know, but it's not that he hasn't played at that level or anything. It's just tough sometimes. And Chris Paul, I mean, has some of the best longevity of all time. We're getting up to that point where he's just been doing it forever. And not, I mean, in 2008, he's playing like an MVP. It's 2022, and he's maybe not the number one option, I guess, but like he's still part of a championship level duo. He's still leading the Suns.
Right. And it's like, okay, the Chris Paul, he's not a winner narrative. And again, there's just not a lot of winners from this era, like there's just not. There's LeBron and the Warriors and the Spurs, and it's just been dynasty after dynasty. So if you're not part of those teams, you're probably not a winner, it's tough. And Chris Paul is unfortunately not a winner. James Harden, not a winner. Embiid, not a winner. Jokic, not a winner. Derrick Rose, not a winner. It's been a bunch of dynasties throughout Chris Paul's time, and What team has he been on that you really expected to win the finals? Maybe the Suns last year when they were up 2-0. You'd like to see him close that out a little bit better, but I mean, they're not there without him, and that's still a finals appearance. And I don't know. And yeah, they were one of the worst teams in the league before Chris Paul got there. So yeah, he's not the type of player that has the ceiling like a LeBron or a Giannis where he can just put the team on the back and carry, but not a lot of playmaking point guards are. So when it comes to the point guards in front of him, there's definitely Magic. There's probably Curry. Those two definitely can.
I would
But
question how many point guards ever have been the best player on a
right.
championship team.
Yeah, point guards are just not the dominant athletes. They're more, like
And
again, it's like who are the like dominant carrying point guards? It's like Curry, who won one, and even when KD was on the team, KD was winning all the finals MVPs, and like the one championship he did win by himself, it was a team against a Cavs squad that had Dellavedova as their second best player. So it's not like that's not Curry slander, but it is rare that a point guard carries. It's usually forwards, So I
Chris
don't know.
Paul is better than Isaiah Thomas.
Maybe.
I also think that Chris Paul, it's like it just has not worked. Nobody ever likes to hear this, but for some guys, it just like doesn't work out. Some dudes just don't get the breaks to win a championship. Sometimes, like 2018 was brutal for Chris Paul, and then I don't know. I've seen him as a player who's been good enough to make teams super, super competitive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I think like Chris Paul again. I still don't trust Chris Paul in the clutch. I do. I do. It's like, what do you mean don't trust? Who do you trust in the clutch then? If Chris Paul is someone you don't trust, who do you trust? Because people don't trust LeBron in the clutch. People don't trust Chris Paul in the clutch. It's like, what's the standard? Like Kawhi, because he's hit a game-winning shot before. People would probably say, do you trust Booker? Like, I don't know. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, it reminds me a lot of Rodgers, where it's like, oh, I don't trust Rodgers in the playoffs when Rodgers is top 10 all time in playoff wins and 6th all time in playoff passer rating and has a ring. Well, it's like, okay, if that's his standard, that's where he's at, and he's still considered a bad player, like a bad player in the playoffs. His playoff record.
what are the
horrible.
5-point guards?
So it's like,
do trust?
It's like if you don't trust him, what's the standard for you trust them? And it's like, okay, Steph, KD, LeBron. Okay, so it's like a list of 10 players you trust, and everybody else you don't. It's a little bit. It's the standards a little bit too high. You know who I don't trust in the playoffs? Like bad players. I do trust good players. I trust Iguodala. I do trust Iguodala, but like, yeah, no, I don't trust. Who don't I trust in the playoffs on the Suns? Kaminsky.
Steph deserved Finals MVP in 2015 over Iggy. I think all things fair in that series, LeBron wins it if Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving are healthy. It's like, I'll give you that in the sense of like it should go to, if it went to the best player on the winning team, it goes to Curry. But if it just went to the best player in the series overall and all things were fair, they probably don't even win it. So I don't know if I'm going to retroactively give Curry the Finals MVP.
Right. If you see any amount of Suns games, you'll know Chris Paul is clutch. Yeah, that's the other thing. Go look up like statistics in the clutch for all the players this season and see like where Chris Paul ranks, because he's pretty damn high. DeRozan, I'm also not super trusting of DeRozan to turn it on and beat these good teams in the playoffs right now, because
Luka is going to win MVP next year. I think he's getting that narrative back.
Yeah, Bulls are shot. They are shot. They're done. Yeah, they're not winning anything, right? I mean, it's tough for me to envision a team that has not beat a good team all year to roll into the playoffs on a cold streak and win a series, right? That's pretty obvious. Bulls are cooked, I believe. But
if Giannis wins Finals MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, is he better than Kevin Durant all time?
Ooh, no.
I think what's interesting is like we talk peak for peak, and everyone's like, I don't care about longevity. I just care about peak. But nobody has Giannis over Kevin Durant. You're telling me nobody thinks that Giannis a guy who's won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year has peaked over Kevin Durant, or is everyone actually taking longevity into account? You know, I
It's
it's tough, dude.
it is tough.
It kind of depends on how he does it. It's like if he wins another MVP or if he wins another finals, it's like, well, what happened? You know, how did he play?
I think, yeah, I don't know. Peak Giannis here. It's tough. Peak KD is just such a good offensive weapon. And that's the other thing is like people like offense is more than defense in every sport. So I don't know. That one is Crowder is a known choker. That's true. I don't really trust Crowder on the Suns. That's a player that if he was taking the game-winning shot, I would not expect that one to go in for sure. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's close. They're very close. I do think longevity does matter because it's like the window. I think when they're like, I don't know. I don't know.
When you talk about who the best players of all time are, you're talking about it like who's had the best career in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
So,
Who's had a better career, KD or Giannis?
like, here's the way that I look at it is if you were a general manager and you could have one for their entire career, who would you take?
I would take Kevin Durant at this point, but it is because of longevity and not peak, right? Because
Right.
I do think like when you look at greatness, it is your entire career. I used to be not in that camp where it's like, I don't care what you did when you were not at your peak. Like I'm just gonna take you. That used to be my thing.
The
But
way that I'm looking at it is like maybe you say Giannis peaks a little bit higher, but as of right now, does Kevin Durant give you a 5-year longer window of a top player good enough to be the number one option on a championship team? Because if he does, and you're building a team, you probably take those 5 extra years if you
you
know you're
would.
going to have him for that entire time.
You
It's
would.
the same thing.
Giannis is not past KD's career yet, but he probably will. I don't know. I would pick KD. I think KD has had the better career up to this point. I do. But yeah, Giannis is knocking on the door. That's for sure. I like Giannis. This is not Giannis slander.
It's tough. It's tough. That's why LeBron's the greatest player of all time to me. It's like if you were a general manager, you would take LeBron. And if you had him for his whole career, I mean, you'd have like 15, 16, 17 years of a player, arguably best in the league, you know, good enough to be the number one on a championship team, which is really, you know, how many guys have done that in the last 40 years?
Right.
10,
Yeah.
15. So
yeah,
that's my way of looking at it.
Yes. So yeah, no, I would still put KD above Giannis. I do think longevity matters. I do think like in a league where it's tough to hold on and it's tough to not fall off once you reach your 30s. And if you can, I don't know. It is tough. It's a tough question, but Giannis has a long way to go to catch KD, but I do think like if Giannis' career ended right now and KD's career ended right now, I think I would still put KD like had the better career. He had the better career all around. But you know, Giannis is right there. He's right there. So yeah, Giannis can still get better. I've been hearing that every year for the last 6 years is like, oh, Giannis can still get better, which I guess is true. I mean, hypothetically, every player can kind of still get better.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is starting to get to you're starting to get a little bit into efficient mid-range shot land with him, and
took long enough.
that stuff is dangerous.
It is dangerous. I mean, I saw him hit that step back 3 to bring it to overtime against the Nets the other day, and it's like, whoa, that's not good if you are anyone outside of a Bucks fan. But yeah, no, he's ridiculous. He could still get a little bit better. I'm trying to look at his shooting from different places.
I'm sure it's way better this year.
Field goal percentage by distance, like 10 to 16 feet. It's the third best mark in his career, actually. 16 to like deep. The deep mid range is the best of his career, and better than last year by almost 10%. So
it shows. It shows.
nice.
You watch it. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. You still have to unlearn a little bit when you're watching. Like, oh, I see him pull up. I'm like, oh, that's a bad shot. You can't let him force you into that. And then he makes it. It's like, well, maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, he's shooting 40%, 43% from the deep mid range, which is quite good. That's
It
quite
is.
good. 40% from anywhere, unless you're like obviously right in between. And that, I mean, his first year in the league when he was 19, he was 22% at that and has moved it up to 43%. Although, yeah, he's been hovering in the 30s for most of that time. So it's not like he's been just awful at it his whole career, actually. But he's also taking that shot actually less than he used to. I guess more than last time. But anyway, he has gotten better at it. He has gotten better at it for sure. I do think some people overrate just how much better Giannis can get. It's like, oh, when he adds the three to his, like, he's probably never ever going to be, like, people talk about it like, oh, he'll develop this like massive bag offensively eventually. And he's gotten better, but I do
It's like
think
a
that
LeBron
people,
thing where
yeah,
it's not like he's gonna all of a sudden become Steph Curry, where his point shot is maybe so threatening, but he will get good enough at it where you can't leave him open. And then once he does that, it's like if you have to really play him super super hard at the perimeter, and he's already not that far from getting there. The harder you have to play him there, the harder he is to stop because he's still the same guy inside. So I think that's the big thing with him. It's like same thing with LeBron. It's like he doesn't even need that big of a bag if he can attack you with the basket and you have to respect him from 30 feet out.
deep mid range is the worst shot. Yes, but also as a Suns fan who's watched them like build a lot of what they do off the mid-range game with Booker and Chris Paul, I do think that the mid-range shot does get overly hated on. And it's again an analytics thing is like all the data you use about like what is a good shot is from a set of data that is from a league where they don't know that. So going like does that make sense? Like yes, never take mid rangers. They're inefficient, but you don't know what those percentages look like from a team that really abides by that because no team before has really done it. So I feel like a lot of the analytics about, oh, a mid range shot is bad are a little bit misleading because none of those are drawing from teams that just didn't really take mid range shots. So I don't know.
Well,
It's
it's
tough. It's a
always
little overrated, but it's definitely like I mean, from a common sense standpoint, where it's like, okay, three is worth more than two. A deep two is not that much easier to make than a step back three, like step back 1 foot and shoot a three. So
having
yeah, it is. But also being good at it can be key.
having the mid-range shot in your bag just makes you more dangerous. Yeah, I mean it's not about the shot itself as much as it is about just making guys guard you from there, being
Right.
able to do a bunch of things. If teams only took like the most efficient shots, it'd be so easy to guard because you know exactly what they were going to do every single
Exactly.
possession.
So that's what I think people and like the analytics don't quite take into account. Same thing with football. You see it all the time. It's like you just couldn't win a game without taking mid range. Like if everybody knows what you only have two shots, it's bad to not.
Running's
You want to
inefficient.
you want to like diversify. You want to be dangerous in as many aspects as possible. So it's like, oh, why don't people do the most efficient thing all the time? Because then all of a sudden it wouldn't be the most efficient thing anymore. So, and it's the same thing with football. It's like people will look at the numbers and be like, oh, passing is more efficient than running. If they run it more than 15 times in a game, that's bad. But it's like also, you've never looked at numbers from a team that believes that. So it's like in a world where you don't have to worry about the running game, the passing numbers would get significantly worse. But you can't look at that because no football coach and someone who's been around the game is ever going to do that. And yeah, so at any rate, yeah, the mid range is nice. So anyway, that's a little bit of football, a little bit of basketball. Whose jersey is this? This is Charles Barkley. This is an old Barkley jersey. So yeah, and yeah, a lot of the best playoff performers are the mid range guys. Yeah, KD, Kawhi,
Yeah.
LeBron has always been good at it. It's important in the playoffs too when defense is a lot tighter and you need to be. I mean, you need to be able to score from anywhere, because as soon as that look is open, you got to pull the trigger in the playoffs, especially. So yeah, it's definitely good to have difficult mid-range shots in your bag, even if it's not the best shot. But
Is
yeah,
Memphis the biggest threat to the Suns in the West? I think so.
I think so too. I
I
mean,
do.
their depth is crazy. They've got a bona fide superstar that's might be better than anybody on the Suns, and plus crazy depth as well. They're a lot like the Suns, and also Memphis has the best point differential since the All-Star break, so they may have been even performing better than the Suns recently. So yeah, it's tough. Them or the Warriors. I mean, it's a pretty basic take. The 1 and the 2, the 3 seed are the two biggest threat, or the three biggest threats. But yeah, no, I'm more worried about getting knocked off by the Grizzlies and the Clippers, or the Timberwolves, or the Mavericks. The Grizzlies beat us the other night with like two of their best players missing. So yeah.
I saw Andrew Bogut saying the Warriors were officiated differently in 2016 than other teams. I haven't heard that, but cry in my book. Brian got him.
When analytics people say something is less valuable, I don't think they're saying avoid doing it at all costs. I don't know, man. I'm pretty heavily involved in the analytics community. I've definitely seen them be like, why on earth are you running the football in any
Yeah, it's like, so
circumstances, or
that's the
taking
thing
mid range?
about it.
That's a bad shot. Like, yeah, a lot of times, a lot of times they are saying like avoid doing it at all or do it
So
just the absolute bare minimum of the time,
I'm
or
questioning
only do it.
someone every time they shoot a mid-range shot, but I'm not saying don't shoot them at all. It's like, well, then what are we talking
Right.
about?
I
Then,
guess I
right?
can't speak for NBA analytics Twitter because I'm not as into that community as I am football. But yeah, a lot of
The
analytics people do kind of I've seen have been in the like, yeah, don't, at least in the football, is like do not run it. And I would assume it's largely the same. It's like, yeah, that's a bad shot whenever, or when a mid range goes in, good result, bad process is what they like to say.
I think the idea is like your role players shouldn't shoot mid-rangers, but your
Right.
star players should. But a lot of analytics guys don't necessarily follow
Yeah.
that rule.
Grizzlies are just the NBA's Bengals a little bit. A little bit.
Nothing
I
wrong
think the
with that.
best Bengals is the Hawks last year. That's the best Bengals comparison, I think. Just like ridiculous offense, a lot of like ridiculous offense, scrappy underdog team, made it farther than anybody thought they would. Um, the defense doesn't really maybe have any big name defenders, but they get the job done. I think last year's Hawks was the Bengals.
AD going to the Hornets. I I have a hard time seeing
The
it. I'm not gonna
biggest,
lie to you.
yeah, the team that has never signed a big free agent in their history will be securing Anthony Davis, who has no connection to that city whatsoever. Maybe likes J. Cole a lot.
You're sick for tweeting out that Gardner is in analytics. And then what did you do? You tweet a graph in your next tweet.
What
You're
graph
sick
did
for
I tweet?
this.
Oh, the graph was not a graph, was the Sam
No.
Howell, draft projection. That's like physically, that's not like a
It's a
stat.
graph,
That's like
man.
physically how it's going.
I don't want that content.
Gardner versus Sting. Gardner is like, oh, he never allowed a touchdown. He's got all these like
that's not an
which is
advanced stat. He just hasn't given up a touchdown.
you're no fun. It's a joke.
Meanwhile, Stingley out here, but Stingley is getting hype over his RAS score. But that's not.
This is not NBA. This is not NBA. AD seems like a DaBaby fan. What is AD's music taste? Oh, should we tell him who we're interviewing and ask for questions? That's kind of what I want to do. All right. Announcing. Okay, this is special. You guys are the first person to hear who we're interviewing, and we got to figure out what to ask this guy. It's Richard Jefferson will be on the podcast. I assume, I don't know if we're doing an interview with him like on its own, or he will be a podcast guest. I guess I'm not totally clear on what we're doing. He's either going to be its own video, or
we're doing
he's going to be a
something.
guest on the podcast. But it's Richard Jefferson. What do you guys want to know about the bald man, Richard Jefferson? I don't know what I want to ask him, Mr. Clean.
I've been thinking about that. I don't know.
Ask him how he gets his head so shiny. We might. Why do you hate LeBron? That would be a funny thing to ask the open fight.
Why do you hate
Why do you hate
LeBron?
LeBron?
Kind of funny.
That would be kind of funny. I had a good question idea last night, but I forgot it. So someone please remind me of what it is. Ask him what LeBron smell like. 2008 Olympics is actually a good question. Like all those guys in the same place. I think that's definitely an interesting thing. I also think I wish the Olympics were actually happening. And then we could be like, what does a gold medal mean versus a ring? That was I remember when that was a big debate a couple years ago. That like Nick Wright was talking about it, and it was like, because some NBA players said like a gold medal means as much to them as a ring, and everybody just kind of laughed it off. Like, of course it doesn't. You don't actually think that. So I wonder. I could ask him about the Olympics, but it's not really an Olympic season, so I don't know if people are going to be that interesting.
But Jefferson, he doesn't have a gold medal, does he?
Oh, did he not win it that year? Did America choke that year? Ask him
am I wrong about that? He played in 2004, and then in 2008 was the dream team because they got bronze in 2004. Unless I'm totally off base about that.
Oh, I was gonna ask him like about social media and how he's probably the player that has embraced social media, or at least TikTok, the most. He's done kind of a unique job embracing social media. I was gonna ask him because when did he start his career? Like 2004 or something ridiculous. He's like not ridiculous, but I was like, what would the narratives be on social media if social media was around in 2005? Like
Richard
who would be
started in 2001.
Okay, yeah. If social media was around in 2001, what would be the bits? Who would be the most popular players? What would the like narratives be? How would that change? I don't know. I thought that was the one where I was like kind of interested to ask him. He averaged 22 points a game in 2004.
That's nice.
Impressive.
He was on the Olympic team.
He didn't make an all-star game that year though. So as far because he only started 33 games. That's probably why.
They get you for that.
They'll get you for that. They'll ding you. Yeah. So we got to think of things to ask him. G.I. Jefferson. That would be funny. I might do that, depending on how it's going. I think he would enjoy. What?
He does a lot of interviews, though. I don't want to ask him stuff that I think he's already heard.
Right. That's the thing. Is he's very like, who's the hardest player? I'm sure he's gotten that a lot. I don't know. Bladen kind of looks like RJ with hair. I don't know about that. Does he? I would say that.
I don't think so.
Not really.
I guess I haven't really compared them side by side. Welcome to the NBA moment. I don't know. It's not a bad one. I got to think of something.
We got to think of something good. He's a funny person too, so like we can ask him some weird shit. I don't know. Anyway,
ask him with the Carolina Panthers. Maybe I'll ask him
wine addict. What is his favorite LeBozo, like LeBron iteration? You've got to have a favorite. My favorite. I don't know what my favorite LeBron iteration is. I always thought the cartoon character made me laugh a lot when Looney Tunes was first coming out, or Le Epic Games when he was in Fortnite.
We got to do a LeBron nickname tier list.
We should. That's a good one. LeBozo is probably the all-time classic, or LeBum. Those two to me are the two gold standard ones. Like LeBozo and LeBum are the two that are really good. But Paul Blart 1 or Paul Blart 2, that's a good question.
Ask him about his all-time bald team. I feel like I've thought about this. Dude, the all-time bald team is probably just the all-time team, regardless.
Shaq, MJ, Kobe.
Kareem, dude, LeBron, like, dude, all of
LeBron's not bald. When has LeBron been like totally bald?
Ed, I feel like a couple off
He's
seasons ago, he shaved his head.
balding. He is not bald.
You know, who is the best player of all time to not like be balding ever, like during their playing career? I think it's Tim Duncan. Maybe
Duncan,
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird, Dr. J. Maybe he's bald. I don't think he's been bald. The eviction notice is also very good. Like kid from Akron. I guess, yeah, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon. Was Wilt ever bald? Yeah, he was kind of bald.
Really?
I don't know about
Is
that. I
Chris
think you
Paul
could definitely the
bald?
all bald
No.
team is like Shaq,
Dude,
MJ, Kobe, KG,
over half of the top 10 all time.
KG, Shaq, Kobe, Michael, and then you need like a point guard.
I'm going Kareem.
Kareem.
I'm taking Kareem in that and somewhere in my top 5.
Fair enough. I guess Magic was sort of bald.
Well, okay, it depends. It depends. Are you taking like, is it anyone who was bald within their career, or is it like you can have, but it's when they were bald? Because then with Kareem, he didn't go bald until he was a little bit past his prime.
I don't think you can say an all bald team when I think you've got to say like in their prime they were bald. I don't think you can be like Kareem was bald when he was 40, so you get prime Kareem.
When did Kareem give it up? And
I think that you got to go with like, okay, Kobe was like, you get bald Kobe. You don't get Froby though. You don't get Froby. You get bald Kobe. You get MJ, who is not always bald, I guess.
That's the next iteration of LeBron we need. People talk all the time about like rookie LeBron and first stint Cavs LeBron and Lakers LeBron. We need.
I also think
LeBron.
that you kind of got to be all bald. No, like short buzz. You got to be like shiny dome. That's the other thing.
Yeah, Chris Paul does not count. Someone asked if Chris Paul counts.
Yeah, no,
he's not bald.
No. Barkley is good, but he's got to be a point. If you're doing a starting 5, I'd take KG over Barkley.
So who's your point guard then?
Gary Payton. That's not a bad idea. I think Gary Payton's, is he the one? Yeah, I think he probably is. He was pretty bald. Yeah, Gary Payton, MJ, Kobe, KG, Shaq. That's probably what I would say. I don't think you can beat that team. I think that I've won by saying that.
Yeah, you.
Yes, go Theo. LeBald. I mean, there was that one video where LeBron like shaved his entire head clearly and was like singing and like recording in a gym, but then he never actually came out with a bald look. Jason Kidd is also a good answer to that. Vince Carter is not a 1. Maybe you could put him there. He's never the greatest playmaker though.
Off the bench, I'm afraid.
He's coming off the bench. He's a 6 man.
Who's your defensive player of the year? Dude, this is the award I cannot figure out. I had to fill out like my whole thing. And
Bam Adebayo is mine because I have money on it.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
Yeah, Karl Malone is not better than KG all time. Don't care what anybody says. I'd rather have KG than Karl Malone.
Favorite jersey he played.
And if you disagree with me, you're gonna have to defend Karl Malone, and I know no one is ever going to do that. So, yeah. Asking about his stance on abortion. You know, Oklahoma's passed some controversial laws lately. Yeah.
We go
by
Drexler. That's 3 defensive players of the year. I'm not gonna.
Rudy shouldn't. That guy's absolutely right. Is we need to stop Rudy Gobert's historic pace here. We need to get rid of him. All right. We need to let the players
as a potential future Hornet. I'm going to say he's really great for now. And then we'll see what happens this offseason, and then I'll give you my opinion on that.
All right. Bam has missed 25 games. I don't care. I have money on him. I don't know. Marcus Smart's not a bad pick. I watched a Celtics game the other day where he was just having a defensive master class and a playmaking master class as far as that's concerned. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's him. But I don't know. I would say I would say that the most valuable player on defense is probably Giannis. I don't know if he's in on it, but I would
He
say that
is.
he's probably the scariest defender. He's probably more versatile than Gobert, and I wouldn't say that he's even that much better in the paint, or like there's not a huge difference between them in the paint. And he's played the majority of the season. He's played more than Bam. So I would say like best defensive player in the league is probably Giannis.
You want to hear? I was filling out my All NBA team,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I was gonna do this, but I had Trae Young on the first team,
Okay.
and I was gonna put Booker because that's the thing to do right now.
Right.
And then I was like, well, I don't know, because like he's played more games than LeBron, but LeBron is scoring more points more efficiently. I guess he's on a better team, but I don't know if I like. I'm not really taking that into account for all NBA. And then I looked at it and I'm like, I had Trae Young on my second team. I'm like, well, he's played like, because I wasn't doing positions. And I was like, Trae Young's played like 15, 20 games more than Bron. And I was like, well,
Yes.
this guy leads in like total points and total assists
Yeah.
over Steph.
More
Steph,
assists.
I debated putting him there, but he's missed a lot of games too. And now he kind of had a pretty big cold stretch.
He had a very substantial cold stretch. I mean, when was the last time we can confidently say Steph has played better than, well, we know when we can confidently say that, the Knicks game when he broke the record. I mean, since then it's been Trae. Uh yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I would say, because let's see, who are the guards you'd probably even consider there? Do you consider LeBron a guard? You probably could put his name down.
I just did. We were doing positionless, I think. So it
Okay.
was whatever. Over Luca, yeah, that's the guy I should have put.
Luca, Young,
No, I had Luca. I had Luca on there. I'm not dumb. I had Luca on
first
there.
team.
Yeah, I think I must have had Luca first team. There's no way he was second.
Because I think you got to discuss LeBron, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, John Morant, Devin Booker. Those are five, and then you get six, don't you? Who would be the sixth guy?
No, you just get the five.
You get five. I thought it's two guards for three All NBA teams.
Oh yeah, you get.
So like, if you
I
think
thought you were
about,
talking about just on All NBA first team.
oh no, I was thinking about like just the six best guards, and then you rank them. So it's LeBron, Young, Luka, Ja, Booker. Uh, SGA is probably, I would honestly like to put him up there, but I don't know if you can.
With guards for
Yeah,
All NBA team,
yeah.
Curry,
Curry. Oh yeah, Curry. I guess you still have to
Ja,
put him up there.
Booker, Trae. This is in no order, obviously. Probably Donovan Mitchell.
Why is LeBron being put at guard? I don't know if you can put him at guard. Like he's kind of
I'm afraid he has
positionless.
to be a forward.
Okay, that
I
makes more
think.
sense anyway. He was a point guard
Oh, and
last year. He's played
DeRozan.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, DeRozan. Duh.
That's the six right there. Donovan Mitchell, I guess, is maybe debatable if there was somebody else you felt really strongly about.
Uh,
But
I'd argue
I think
Mitchell over Curry. I don't know though.
I mean, I had Mitchell on that six, so you can Jaylen Brown. I probably got.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put Jaylen Brown there over Curry, Booker, Ja, Luka, Young, DeRozan. Curry's honestly on the bubble to me of those six, to be completely honest with you.
He was really killing it earlier in the season.
He was really killing
I
it.
I don't want to discount that just because it happened a little while ago and my memory is that short.
Right. So the best two here this season have probably been, yeah, Young and Luke, Trae Young and Luka, Booker, Luka and Trae Young. I might say that. Could I say that Young and Booker have been the best two, most consistent two, healthiest two of the year? Like Young and Booker, those two.
I think.
And then could I put that as one and two?
Or
is that a bad take?
If Luka is on the list of guards, he has
Yes.
to be first team.
He does.
Mavs
Okay.
are a 3 seed right now. He's been playing out of his mind. He's averaging.
He has, especially recently. He got off to a little bit of a cold start.
Yeah.
I might say
I may
Luca
have
and
counted
Booker.
like Luca's a weird one. You can count him as a forward if you really want because he's tall enough to do it, but that might be cheating a
That
little
might
bit.
be cheating a little bit. I would say Luca and Booker would be my first two, just because, and then maybe Young and DeRozan, and then Ja and Curry third team, just because Ja's missed a bunch of games and Curry has been on kind of a cold streak since kind of the like for a while. So I would say for guards for me, Luca Booker first team, DeRozan Young second team, Ja Curry third. Is anyone that mad at me? Would I
John
get my
13
vote
is
stripped for
tough.
that? What?
John 13 is tough.
It
I'm
is tough,
telling.
but
I
how
don't,
many
dude. I
games has
don't.
he missed? 20?
He has missed a lot of games. And that's the big thing. I
Lucas small ball
Lucas
five.
small ball.
Yeah, we're putting him at
Oh,
center.
well, the positions. Here's my logic. I don't care about positions if they're not going to care about positions. If they're going to say that Embiid and Jokic count as forwards as well, then that's it. Because Jokic, has he played a minute at anything other than the five this year? I haven't seen it. If he has, he must not have. I don't. They're not running. They're not running lineups with Jokic at the four. So it just seems bogus to me to do that. And it's fine. It's not a big deal because I guess it's like what I would want. It's just for the five best players to get the All NBA team. But what's the point of having the positions then?
Yes, I also think I'm a big. I have kind of pushed back against the whole like it doesn't matter if you miss time. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't want something to just be a health award." So it's like if Ja was better than Booker this year, for example, but Booker was healthier, we're gonna give it to Ja because I don't want it to be just a health award. It's something sometimes I hear that argument crop up. But also like if you're healthy, I mean it's a grind, man, to not miss any games. I think it's not so much punishing unhealthy players as it is rewarding guys who play the whole season. Because why would you play the whole, like, I think that should be a little bit of an
Yeah.
incentive to do. And like no one likes to see healthy scratches. No one likes to see, I get why guys sit, and I get why there's like
But it comes down to what
these
you
rest
actually
days.
did in the season. I don't
Right. And it's like
disagree.
if you miss 25 games, you missed 25 games, and you may have been better in 45 games than someone else was in 70 or 60. And it's like, okay, or someone may have been worse, a little bit worse in 70, and someone was better in 50. It's like I would rather, like 20 games is a long time, man, and
So
that's a grind. And so yeah, I think like Ja has missed too many games for me to put him above some of these dudes who've been playing the entire season.
I would say I agree for all NBA team, but I also agree with the game minimum being kind of low for a scoring award. And the difference is that okay, we look at the all NBA teams. If you miss like 25 games, that's got to count for something.
Right.
That has to hurt you. It does. Like it is what you did. It's a season award. What you accomplished that season, playing matters. But you wouldn't ding a player for missing like 8 games, would you? Probably, maybe a little bit. Maybe it's a tiebreaker, but like 74 versus 82, you're not going to care. Like 74 is a full season.
Yeah,
With the scoring title though, missing those 8 games would be a death sentence. To like missing 8 more games in somebody, if you guys are even close, yeah, you're screwed for that. So you
right.
have to kind of have it be the average, so it doesn't come down to like exclusively which of the top like 15 scores just happened to play the most games and didn't tweak an ankle for a couple of
Right.
weeks.
I mean, I made the take that the scoring title could be the guy with the most total points. Right. And I still think I, I don't really care. That's my thing. Is like, that is not a
Well,
hill I'm willing to die on. I do think like that's an interesting perspective that people don't really have. I think like a lot of people saw that video and never have quite thought about it that way before, or seen that like as a potential, like, hey, yeah, maybe the scoring, like, wow, the guy who scores the most points in a season probably doesn't get recognized really at all in any kind of award, which, and I think it's an impressive feat. Like, and maybe that's just the football fan of me being like, oh yeah, total yards. If you miss it one game and Derrick Henry ends with more total yards than Jonathan Taylor in a hypothetical, That's like the rushing yards title is that guy instead of yard. It's like the exact. So maybe it's just the NBA or the NFL fan in me, but yeah, I do think like I was thinking about it. It's like, okay, if you're DeRozan, you start the year, any player in the league can go out and like there's a lot of players in the league and you're the one who goes out and scores the most points for your team. I'm like, maybe like I would kind of be mad if no one ever recognized me for that. However, I thought about it a little bit more and it's like, okay, am I actually, does points per game actually do like a poor job at determining who the best scorer was? No, it doesn't do a poor job.
Not if it's going to tell me it's LeBron, though.
It does a good job.
Well, it's
So
not LeBron right now.
if it's not LeBron, he's not even going to win the scoring title. So everybody in that comment section who is like, oh, so now that LeBron is going to win it, it's a problem. So that's all going to age bad because LeBron's not even going to win it.
And that's not like, it's funny because it's like not what you meant.
No, it wasn't like, oh, I hate LeBron. We got to change. I was just thinking about it like, oh, yeah, DeRozan has the most points right now. Maybe he should be this, like, he scored the most. Maybe he should get the scoring title. And then everybody's like, oh, LeBron hater. Even though I argue with Scott Van Pelt on LeBron's behalf, I went up toe to toe with some of the biggest names in the industry and argued LeBron over MJ. So don't mistake me for some LeBron hater, as much Lakers slander as I may post, or as much as yeah. At any rate, I just thought it was like an interesting perspective that no one really talks about. So that was, I never make takes that I don't believe in. Like I'm not someone who would just say shit just to say it. That one was a little bit, not in that I don't believe it, but like I don't care, you know. I don't win. I don't care. So yeah.
Someone said funniest podcast episode is when you guys were drafting players from the NFL and making your own team. We should do that for the NBA on an episode, I think.
Yeah, we could do it. We could do it soon and do it under the guise of like, okay, the all NBA teams are getting selected. There's first team, second team, third team all NBA. We're gonna do it like first team, second team,
Matthew.
like one team Matt, second team all Spawn Hour, third team all Bladen, except I didn't say myself. So we could honestly do that pretty quick. Also, as an excuse to use the Blue Wire graphics team who can make some sick graphics for stuff like that. I would also like to see the team that Bladen drafts. Just how high he takes De'Aaron Fox. Fox, Garland.
So it's gonna be the two of us like trying to get the most like votes on Twitter.
And then he's just gonna be like,
it'll be Bladen. He'll have De'Aaron Fox.
Fox is like, yeah. Well, would we do a full 10 or two full lineups as starter?
Yeah, we could do a full 10 team.
Yeah, I
could do a full 10 team. Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could maybe do that. We could maybe do that tomorrow. Honestly, we could tell Nabil to call an audible maybe. Because tomorrow we're talking about, I don't even know what. We don't have that much to talk about. So.
I don't know if I have the heart to do this, but like if I get the first overall pick, it's going to be tempting to take De'Aaron Fox.
We should give him the first overall pick just to see what he does.
I think he'd take LeBron.
I think.
I don't know. Bladen is not like, he doesn't know a ton about basketball, but it's not like he can't.
Yeah, no, it's not like he thinks. Right,
it's
not like he can't. Yeah. Miles Garrett, he'll take Luka. That's the thing. If we go 30 players off the board, I don't know if Bladen knows 30 NBA players. His 10th pick is gonna get rough.
Yeah.
So that would be the one thing. No
Why do people love talking about who should be fourth place in the MVP voting so much? Dude, thank you. Who cares? It's like this guy shouldn't win it, but he should be talked about.
That's something we got to talk to Richard Jefferson about, because he was pushing the Booker straight up MVP narrative on a Suns broadcast the other day. Like straight up, he should get it. I think we can ask him, do you truly believe
that he is the most
valuable player in the league, or are you just doing it because that's the way it's always been? I honestly would ask him that as a Suns fan. I would ask him that question because I heard him push that narrative. So I truly think that's like an interesting discussion to have, is like, do we just give out the MVP to someone who meets historical benchmarks, or do we actually put some nuance into it?
I mean, so the thing is like the MVP award used to have less nuance than it does now, right? So it's like we should be able to adapt and like get a little bit more in depth and be like, okay, it's not the most valuable player isn't always just the highest score on the best team,
Right.
because your supporting cast could be real bad and it could stop you from doing that. So
Right. And it's not like the Nuggets were the best team last year, Like who's the number one team? The number one team in the West last year was the Jazz. And it's not like Mitchell was getting MVP hype. Who's the best team overall? I guess I'm not totally sure. Who's the one seed in the West in the East last year?
last year I was about to say it's the Suns are the number one overall seed now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
It might have been the Suns or was it the Jazz or
no, the one seed, the one seed in the West last year was the Jazz. I know that, and it's not like Mitchell was getting MVP hype. It would have been ridiculous to say that he was better than Jokic last year, I think. But this year, I think Booker is also just a cool player that people like to root for because he's awesome, which is valid. But yeah,
should being top 3 in MVP affect your legacy? I mean, I think it does. I look back and I wonder how often a guy was top 3 in MVP voting, because like actually winning the award is really, really tough sometimes, and it's like I think the way to look at it is instead of like what actually happens, because to actually get the award, you need to have things break your way, or like even win a title, have things break your way. Ask yourself, like, how many MVP level seasons did a guy have, or how many championship level runs did a guy
and the NBA does a good job with that because they do first team, second team. So it's like if you get even one NBA vote, you're probably getting recognized on an all NBA team. So yeah, those are important for sure.
People and honestly, on how crazy a first team all NBA selection is.
And I wish awards are the best way to determine legacy, better than stats, because stats get inflated and deflated in different eras. And still, like, is wilt stats mean something different than Julius Erving stats, and those mean something different than Steph Curry's stat. Like through the eras, stats don't mean all that much. And it's also difficult when it comes to like a deeper bag, which some people will say, because that's completely objective and also it's a very small demographic who will be like, well, KD's the GOAT because he's the hardest guy to defend. It's not a very big amount of people who think that, but that's also a completely objective thing. It takes away a lot of the other aspects of basketball. Like awards have never changed. Like awards, the people in it, like, and I do think the media are the guys to give it out because the fans just don't watch that much. Like if it is your job to watch basketball, you should be qualified to hand out those honors. But so many aren't, and it's really frustrating when you see awards get like, oh, well, who cares about awards? Like immediately, like, I don't care about Pro Bowl. Who cares? I don't care about All-Star. Who cares? It's a popularity contest. It really does pain me when that comes out, because that is the best way to like look at a resume is like, okay, I did this, because that has never changed its impressiveness throughout the eras, I think. So it's tough. I think that's the best way to look at it.
You just have to have context for what awards mean. What,
right?
Like Jordan has LeBron crushed in scoring titles, but is that because he's away? But is the 1 to 10 comparison speaking more to the difference in how good they were as players, or like how they played? Because to win scoring title, you kind of have to be doing like a specific thing on a specific type of team. And LeBron was just never doing that, Basketball Reference has MVP shares. Yeah, MVP shares is a good way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like the dude who's mad at Aaron Rodgers from Chicago. Yeah. Shocker. I'm not going to vote for Rodgers because he didn't get the vaccine. Good take, man. That's definitely, he missed one game because of, I don't know. It's the MVP. I wish that it had more. I wish, especially the Pro Bowl, or like the Pro Bowl is absolutely the worst, even worse than any NBA All-Star. The Pro Bowl is just ridiculous. And that gets into like NFL camera angles, because it's like, how can you expect a fan to vote on a safety when they probably have never seen this safety cover in their lives because he's not on the screen? So it's like, like for anything, the NFL camera angle needs to change. But this is not an NFL stream. This is an NBA stream, and yeah, it does. It's a little bit better in the NBA because stats do a better job in the NBA than the NFL, and also you can actually see everybody on the screen at the one time. So anyway,
I mean,
how
like
about we don't
Andrew
compare
Wiggins
players and
making the
just
All-Star
vibe?
game over Brandon Ingram. Andrew Wiggins being an All-Star starter was ridiculous at the time, and you couldn't say it because you'd get called a casual. It's like, oh, you don't watch the Golden
Yeah,
State games.
Wiggins making
It's
the
not an
All-Star game
All-Star
over
starter.
Ingram, right? Yeah, Ingram is super underrated, and the thing is, like everybody knows that Ingram is underrated. Like like no one would ever argue that he's not underrated, but still, there's no little mark next to his name on, so he'll be forgotten by time. So yeah, where is LeBron headed? I think that's an interesting question. I do like right after it happened, I was like, is LeBron going to run this back next year? But I do kind of think he has to. Like a LeBron trade this offseason, looking at it now, is probably not super likely. I think they just got to surround him by some more shooters who can actually hit shots and good defenders. That was their main problem is defenders, losing Caruso and KCP
KCP
and
and all them, yeah.
yeah. So surround him with some defenders, and I think he probably does stay in LA. Um,
I
Maybe
don't
he
know.
goes
If
to the
I was him, I'd
Cavs.
give up. I'd be giving up for sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do think that like it probably is just a little bit. It's also just easier to not have to do it after next season. But like, dude, it is not going. The one thing that could be a problem for them is if the Lakers are not willing to be aggressive at all. If the Lakers and they weren't at the deadline, and if they're just like, we're not trading any more future picks, we're not taking on any more money, we're not doing this anymore. We have already been as aggressive as possible. We cannot keep selling more and more of the future, especially after being an 11 seed. If that happens, I think LeBron's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think Westbrook's got to be out of there. First of all, that's happening. That's definitely happening. There's no way that
It'll be a tough trade to pull off.
it'll be a tough trade to pull off. Um, but I think they can do it.
Where would you have him going? It's just like
I heard a trade to the Pacers idea that I
for
liked, and
what
it
were
was
they?
for Healed, who's 30, and it's centered around that. Who is the other player who's older on the Pacers? There's two guys they would get from the Pacers. It would clear money off the Pacers' books. They could either play Westbrook or release him. I can't remember all the details, but
Go look at.
there was a decent Pacers deal that I thought made sense for both teams and
My
would see.
gut tells me that Buddy Hield is a positive asset, and that I don't know if I'd be willing to give him up just to get off his money. I don't know how long his contract is, but I think
Yes,
Buddy Hield is tradable in his own right.
correct. That you could probably get something better. Yeah, maybe. Brogdon and Healed were the two. Um,
Brogdon also, I think both those guys are good players.
I do
Both those guys
too.
are positive on their contract. I mean, it would be crazy good for the Lakers.
It would for Westbrook and the picks that's also involved. So you would get the picks. You would clear long-term salary if you're the Pacers, and you could either play Westbrook or just release him, like just cut bait immediately, and you would save money and get picks. But I don't know. That was the one. It was explained to me on a podcast. I was listening to the Athletic Basketball podcast, and they explained it better than I
I
can.
my
Um,
problem is the Lakers, I guess, could offer two firsts. I guess I could go 2027 and 2029,
yes,
but I don't know if the Lakers are comfortable being that aggressive. Now, maybe for Brogdon and Hield, which would be a really good combo, they'd think about it. But my problem, if you're the Pacers, is that trading for picks that far in the future is going to feel a little yucky. And Brogdon is a strongly positive player. Hield is a positive player too. So it's not like you're getting off of the contracts. And then the other problem is that what is Indiana going to do with this
this
extra
is another
money?
good question for Richard Jefferson, by the way, on the 26th. So what do you
So
think will happen with Westbrook? Anyway,
I think the odds of them running it back with Westbrook and saying our problem was our shooters is higher.
Westbrook's gotta hate it there, man. No
He
one
does.
likes him. He's gotta hate it in LA. I feel like he wants out, and I feel like it would make sense for them to get him out. I feel like that makes like I would wonder if he would like refuse to play for them. So
Both
yeah,
players could get first round picks by themselves. It's not impossible. I think Heald is dude, I think so. I think Brogdon's like really, really, really good. I would have a hard time doing that if I was the Pacers. Just to, I guess, I don't know. It's tough. You got to get Monk. Here's the thing: is Monk coming back? I don't think so because I think he's earned himself a big contract. And would that deal take on even more money for the Lakers? I mean, that luxury tax stuff, it gets really expensive really quick. I mean, you'd be talking, and if you have to pay Monk as well, I don't even think they have his bird rights, so it might not even matter. You could be talking about like half a billion dollars in roster costs, and even the Lakers have a hard
Westbrook
time
said,
doing
"I
that.
don't want to even bring my kids to the game because I don't want them to hear
That
people
sucks. I
calling
feel
their
bad
dad
for him.
nicknames and other names for no reason." Not quite for no reason, Westbrook, but still, that is messed up because he's playing the game that he loves. And it's gotten so bad where my family doesn't even want to go to home games, to any game. And it's just super unfortunate, man. It's super upsetting to me, is what
That does suck.
it does suck. It does suck. The for no reason is a little, but yeah, it is. It is for like, yeah, it does suck. It's unfortunate. And it's like, it's just a divorce. Like the fans don't like him. And I understand why the fans don't like him. And I understand why he doesn't like the fans. And he's just having a miserable time, clearly. So there's just like, yeah, he could opt in for a lot of money, but he doesn't really need that much money. I just think that he needs to get out of there to somewhere. I don't know. It's tough. Like, let's see. In theory, the Lakers could look to waive and stretch Westbrook's remaining salary post buyout over 3 seasons. However, the
Yeah.
franchise is finally getting out of the $5 million a year it has paid to Luol Deng since waiving him in 2018. So let's see. The answer may hinge on James's willingness to sign a 2-year extension this summer to stay in LA through the 2024-25 season. The Lakers would have to go off a verbal commitment since James won't be eligible until August 4th. That may be enough, even though Davis could opt out after 2023. Over that span, the Lakers do not project to have significant cap space with James and Davis. So they can maybe spread out LeBron's contract if he opts in, and then they could afford a Westbrook buyout. I don't know.
I think that stuff all gets really. Maybe that is a strategy. Maybe it's like we're gonna wait out. But LeBron is just so like, how long can he do it for? And then Anthony Davis is like, is this guy ever gonna get healthy?
Right.
It's like you would need like we're gonna wait a year. We're gonna wait a season, and
Another
then
one
we're gonna.
they pose here is the Lakers and the Thunder, maybe trading it back to OKC, because they've got obviously a ton of cap
That'd be
space.
cool.
They could take Derek Favors and Mike Muscala to like clear up some cap space to shed some of those contracts for the Thunder. And Westbrook would probably be going to a place where people actually like him, which would
That'd
probably
be. I
be
would like that. I'd like that. All right. I think that and the Thunder are in a position to take on those picks, and actually they have a few of those role player guys. I think that maybe they could send back to make it a little bit better for the Lakers. So I think that could make sense. The good thing about the hard part about trading Westbrook's contract is not even like, it's gonna sound dumb. It's not even like the money. It's
yeah.
only 1 year. It's not so bad, but it's the fact that it's $46 million. It's hard to like even make a trade that works with that. I think teams are $46 million for 1 year. Okay, you have 1 year bad contract. Okay, that you can deal with. But it's just hard to make it like the math work.
It is. Yeah. I see a lot of Italian food comments in the chat here. I feel like I've got to address those because I think that was just kind of a funny. It's very funny that food post even blew up to the extent that it did because Twitter user Connor McQuinston, who's a PFF intern and part of a small circle of NFL Twitter that like I'm pretty active in said that he doesn't like syrup on things. That was his food take. He doesn't like
It's pretty
syrup
good.
on.
I think
Uh,
that's not a bad take at all.
but his reasoning was it's messy, and so we're like, okay, that's not a syrup problem. That's just you don't know how to eat things.
I get
So
that.
that was a little dialogue that was happening in like this very small corner of like the tone setters Twitter and like PFF intern Twitter, like very, very small. So then someone, Seahawks, Jason Cheatham, I think his name is, said, okay, we're just going to get this out of your system. Everybody post your hottest food take. That's what and then it got probably damn near 70,000 quote tweets. It was like trending for the whole day. And it started with Connor not knowing how to eat syrup. But my take is Italian is the worst type of food, which it's and I don't dislike it because I'm not picky and I like basically every single food thing. But I don't not like it. That's the thing. That's what people, and there's no reason to assume I do like it with what I said. So it's not like I'm blaming people, but I
I
do
get
like
it.
it. I just think it has a low ceiling for me. That's my
I
thing.
think you're it's like, you talk about like different types of like different cultures of food. It's like, oh, Mexican or Italian or Indian or Chinese or like, that type of stuff, right? One of them has to, like all of them are
One of
good,
them has to be
but one of them
last.
has to be the worst. My hot take though for you, also lasagna, not mid.
It is mid. I'm not a big lasagna fan.
Mid or
But the thing
bad
is,
take,
no matter
but
what you put last, people are gonna get mad at unless you say like, oh, English food is the worst. Like people are getting on Britain. It's like, how can you say Italian food's worse than British food? It's like, okay, yeah, okay, it's better than British food, but like that's not one of the main ones. Like I'm not talking about Hungarian. I'm not talking like, okay, fine, I've never had that, but it's like I'm not picky. I'm the opposite of picky. All right, I eat any food, which is why I think who likes like Italian food the most though?
who?
Picky eaters. Picky eaters like Italian fall on Italian because it's a lot of carbs and bread and cheese, and it's not super. That's my thing about it. It's like there's a little bit too much cheese on it. I'm not the biggest cheese fan. Um, but it's like I don't know. I don't know. British food does suck. Yes.
I got 3 hot takes for you food
Okay.
wise.
Let's.
Number 1, I know the joke is to rag on British people. Beans and toast is really not that crazy. I would never think to do it, but like, does it really sound disgusting to people? It's beans and toast. I
It
guess
doesn't
like
sound
it
good. It doesn't
sounds
sound high
okay.
level.
It
It
doesn't sound
sounds
like
like I don't know. It
it's
doesn't
like
sound
it
like
sounds
very
like something.
flavorful. It sounds kind of
It's just
mid.
like
It's
beans
just
and
like a
toast.
very mid. Only Italians
The
like Italian food. That's not true, but yeah. What's your second hot take? Beans and toast is okay in Matt's book.
it's like yeah, it's people act like it's disgusting. It's like, really? It's like it's really yeah, it's like that's really my second
Yeah,
one
it's
though.
just bland. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I
like
just would like never want it. Like okay, maybe it's not the worst thing ever. But it's like I don't know if I want that. I'd rather put peanut butter on toast or
right.
like I don't know. Like that's I'd rather have just buttered toast than beans on toast. I think I don't know.
Beans and toast, like it sounds bad. I can't get behind that. My second one is that meatloaf is good.
I disagree. That's one
It's
of the
good.
rare foods that I just straight up do not enjoy at all. It's a very, very rare food that I just do not enjoy at all. Uh, yeah.
And then I think it's good. When my mom makes it, it's fantastic. I mean, it's nothing crazy or anything, but it's fine. My third one is that sushi is overrated.
Oh wow, these are not
And
even. These are just takes to hurt me specifically. Those last two. Would you
my
put
beans
meatloaf
and
over?
toast okay take is really getting it, Theo Ash. No, no,
That
no.
one, that one's not for me. But like
But
meatloaf is like at the
meatloaf
bottom
we've
of my
talked
list of
about, and then
entrees, and sushi is
I'll
probably at
give
the
you the
very
sushi when I
top.
saw your video. I'm like, I disagree with that. Now, here's the thing about sushi. It is not a meal. It does not fill you up. I go have 10 pieces of sushi. That is not Oh, that's not a meal. Now,
Have
is it
more.
good? Yes. But like I'm gonna have to go spend like $30 on enough sushi to actually fill me up the same way that like some Indian I could go get would, or like some Chinese I could go get would, or some like Italian. It's really good, but I just feel like $25 for like 400 calories. I'm saying, how am I supposed to get big eating sushi? It's
That's
not
not
gonna
the
happen.
point of it. It's like, okay, it doesn't fill you up, but like it's delicious.
It's really, it's really
It's
good.
really
Like
good
it's
and it's health. That's the thing. I think the Mount Rushmore of meals for me is like combining like too good to be true, where something is delicious and also quite healthy. And it's like fish, not fried fish, but like a salmon fillet or sushi is like this is a delicious meal and it's also like very good for you. So I think it's like on my Mount Rushmore of foods just for that. The other one on my Mount Rushmore is Honeycrisp apples, which is complete. I'd rather have a
I bought some today.
Honeycrisp apples. I would rather have a good Honeycrisp apple at like the peak of apple season than any candy. It tastes that good. So like Italians eat fish. Everyone eats fish. What is
I'll
Italian fish? I guess that's the other thing people were like, oh, it's like, oh, you've never been to Italy. It's like, you're absolutely right. I have not been to Italy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go to Italy and get a calzone. Um,
and I
you know,
don't even think sushi's like bad. Don't get me wrong. Like there's a sushi place in Cincinnati that opened relatively recently. It's really good and it can be really good, but it's kind of expensive for not that much food. And I don't think that sushi tastes
because it's
so
luxury.
amazingly good. I don't think it tastes so amazingly good that it's worth both of those things. It's still really good. Taste wise, it's really good, but it doesn't fill you up the same way other places do. The price is the same, and I don't think it's so incredibly tasty that it could be like my number one.
It might not be my number one. Steak might be my number one, as it is incredibly tasty and fills you up, and it's very hearty. I'm a big steak fan. Um, I'm a big sushi fan. Salmon is also up there. I love salmon to a very high degree. Um, the best fast food places are Chipotle. I think is one of them. I do. I think Chipotle
I
burritos about
agree very much.
damn near maybe the best thing you can get at a fast food place is a Chipotle burrito.
There's a lot of routes you can go there. I agree. I think Chipotle is pretty good. I'm a big Bibi Bop guy, which is kind of the same concept
What is
almost.
that?
Just
What did you just say?
it's like Bibi Bop. It's an Ohio place a little bit, but
Right.
there's like enough. It's one of those places where you kind of make your own thing as you go down the line, like Chipotle. It's
Salmon
like
is so mid.
a
Fuck
bowl
up.
and it's rice
Fuck out of
and
here.
mostly the same things.
Mexican food is number one. It's up there. But it's like the types of food. Okay,
So
Mexican above
what's
it.
your number one culture of food then?
This might be biased, but people were like, "Oh, what is American food?" When I think of American food, I think of like burgers, like barbecue, steak. I might put that number one, honestly. Like that's up there. And then I like probably like, I don't know, Asian is pretty like Chinese food, but like Asian in general, you've got like sushi, you know, orange chicken, whatever you want to say. I don't like not just those dumplings. Like I know that Korean and all that is there's different ones, but like overall, I would just this is me being a lazy American and just saying like Asia number two, and then I like probably South America three, like Mexican food is up there too. But it's like all of those things are better than Italian. I would rather take a Philly cheesesteak over like pasta, honestly. Like I don't know. I'm a big the thing is I'm a big meat fan. I'm a very much a carnivore and I like meat. I like burgers, I like steak, I like fish. And Italian is very like focused on carbs and it's like okay, I'd rather have something with more meat in it than
I am gonna have to get
Italian.
you here for like what's your favorite culture of food, and the answer is hamburgers.
Hamburger, that's not an answer. I'm saying like maybe southern like
Southern
southern.
is a very fair answer. I'll give
That
you
might be
that.
my answer. I don't want to say like burger, but like just like American, like in general, like barbecue, like a barbecue platter or I don't know, like that. Philly cheesesteaks, pasta has meat in it too. Not enough. Not as much as a Philly cheesesteak, bro. I
I
love
would.
Philly cheesesteaks, man. Get out of here with Philly cheesesteak slander. The city of Philadelphia, I embrace you. Doesn't like meatloaf. Well, meatloaf is like meat bread.
What's wrong with that?
Why?
You, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I think
Most
Southern
people.
food is pretty great. I mean, because you can go get coastal stuff that's real good,
Oh
and then you
yeah,
can go get soul
like
food that's
the
really good, like
soul food is you can go get a po' boy, go get some like crawfish boil, go get like a good barbecue which has like ribs and everything. Like the South, like the American South, fire. All right, Wendy's fo is the best food in America, in the
I
world.
agree.
Do you eat any fish in
I
Seattle?
would.
I did. I had some halibut. It was
I'd
fire.
say for me, it's between. I'm lagging a little bit.
Does America have any staple foods? Yeah, Mexican tacos, whatever.
Very still right now.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm all right. But I think for me, it's between Southern or Indian. Those are my big two.
Fair. Indian food's fire. Southern food's fire. That's a good take.
Because both those things fill you up. Both those
Yes.
things, you're not going to be hungry after you eat.
Yes. Yeah. So that's my Italian take. Is like I just like things. I'm not the biggest pasta. The thing is, I'm not the biggest cheese fan. That's what and I don't dislike it. Things can have too much of it though, and that's a problem I run into with Italian food more than any. Is like this is just too cheesy for me, and I'd rather there be. I'm just not the biggest cheese fan, and it's cheese and sauce and bread, and it's like just give me the meat. That's gonna get clipped, but yeah, whatever. You know, Southwestern, Southern, Southwest is fire too. Got the really good like Hispanic food down here. Um, anyway, I can't ever have too much meat. You're absolutely correct. Indian and Asian food in general, solo. You're not wrong. I don't hate cheese. I just think they can be too much. Anyway, Jordan Poole has been averaging 26 points per game over the past like month or so. And just the Warriors' luck when Curry is out and Draymond has fallen off a little bit, a new superstar develops. And when he comes back, they will have Poole, who's playing like cannot be overstated how good he is. And like one of the fastest like players in the NBA, right? And he's developed into a really good scorer on all three levels. So Poole and like I don't know. So I've seen some people talking about Poole. Shout out Jordan Poole. Poole or Herro. I think I would maybe take Poole. I love Herro though. I like the Heat and I like Herro. Um, Herro. It's just a little. Maybe I'm wrong. He just seems a little bit smaller and a little bit more sixth man y than Poole, who seems like he could be like I don't know. I
They're
would
about
take
the same
Poole.
size. Unless
Are they?
maybe Hero is a little bit taller. Yeah,
Is
they're
he
about the
actually
same
bigger?
size.
Yeah, shows what I know. Who would you take, Jordan Poole or Tyler Herro going forward? I'd
I
take
think
Jordan Poole. I think his athletic, he's a little bit more athletic and a little bit has like a higher ceiling of dominance than Tyler Herro. But
I think right now I'd take Tyler Hero by just a little bit.
okay,
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think that you can go wrong either way. I'm betraying the white boy of the year. I'm sorry, but yeah, Chad, what do you think? Would you take Poole or Herro going forward? Talk about the Mavs. The Mavs are good, but I don't really expect them to make a deep playoff run, to be completely honest. I kind of think they're going to run into the same problems they've run into in the past. And it kind of being a one-man Lucas show is they're going to get beat by some of the better, more well-rounded teams in the playoffs. But I could be wrong. But I'm not, as a Suns fan, I'm not overly concerned about the Mavericks, which maybe I'm just wrong about. But Hero can close out games better than Poole. Without him, they lost 3. He does close out games. He is the answer. He is the key to everything the Heat do, because they absolutely need Herro's like scoring ability. Otherwise, they're finished. His name is literally Herro. Well, Matt, do you have much more to say?
No, I'm sorry. Bladen just sent this link to bladen.com, and this is killing me a little bit.
He's at blading.com for a long time.
He's been waiting to use
Oh, shit, though. Did he do it? Oh, he did do it.
I don't want to be negative, but I clicked through it just to see if it would make the list, and it didn't end up making the list. So I think it still needs a little bit of work.
It needs a little bit of work. He's close. He's on the verge of a breakthrough.
He's so clutch for just like doing this.
Yeah,
time when he's so busy.
I know. This is the hidden. This is like Bladen's gravity.
People don't get it, man.
This is the Bladen gravity.
This is Steph Curry effect.
This is his Steph Curry moment. Is like making shit like what he's about to make. Stay Hot is.
This won't show up on Basketball Reference, but the impact is very.
The impact
real.
that he has in the off screen,
does a
much
lot
like
of
Curry.
Off-ball work here.
Off ball work is what Bladen does. Oh my God! If he can get this right, I have full faith that it's gonna really blow up. And the other thing I would ask him to do is if he can get the colors to be more Stay Hot themed. But those would be the two things. But Bladen is a picky eater. Bladen is the most picky eater. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's so picky. He's got the palate of like a 7-year-old.
Oh, I guess I hadn't thought about that.
He does. Like his whole take is like the worst food take I've ever heard. I'm going to throw him under the bus here is a Bladen take where he said anything that needs sauce to be added is a bad take. Yes. He said, if you need to have like sauce added to the food, it's a bad food. So like if he gets wings, he won't dip it in anything. Or if he gets chips, he won't dip them in salsa. So he's like, no. He's like, okay, if you need salsa for the chips to be good, chips aren't good. It's like, what? They're literally designed to be a vessel.
Here's the other thing about this. So you would figure that means he doesn't like plain tortilla chips. No, it means that he likes tortilla chips. He just will eat an entire bag without sauce. I've seen him do it.
I would do it too. And the thing is, I did that when I was like 10 years old, when salsa was like too spicy for me. I just eat the chips plain. And then I grew up and I was like, oh, salsa improves this. Or like when he said his favorite
about the cheese pizza thing.
When he said his favorite pizza was cheese pizza a couple months ago.
When you say that, I just immediately think of like Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes.
Cheese pizza. Like
his favorite was cheese pizza. Does he like vegetables? Is that his take that he just doesn't like vegetables? I feel like I've heard him say that before.
I guess I've never thought about this. I've known him forever, but like maybe
I don't think he does.
I can't say with certainty that he doesn't. He does like vegetables. I
think the jury is still out on that. But yeah, no, he just doesn't like he doesn't like spicy things. He doesn't like sauces. He doesn't like add anything to his food. He just eats it plain and raw, and it's very questionable in my opinion. I play tortilla. I have nothing against eating plain tortilla chips, but like it's better with salsa. It is. So yeah, no, Bladen is getting slandered. Yes. Bladen had like at age 10, Bladen decided like all the takes that he has are the ones that are going to stay, like his top 10 TV show list that has Tom and Jerry on it.
The Tom and
Jerry is still a top 10 show of all time for him. He just is like, all right, I'm in middle school and I'm not, I'm just sticking with what I know. But yes, he won't give you the results yet. I haven't figured out how to display them.
He knew it wasn't getting results.
Okay, but once he gets the results, we've made a quiz, and you're gonna be able to fill out this quiz, and it's gonna give you a list of your top 10 quarterbacks. Like it's gonna give you two next to each other randomly, like Lawrence versus Jameis. You pick one, and then it's like Brady versus Roger. You pick one. Then it's Rodgers versus Lawrence. You pick one, and then it's Daniel Jones versus, and you just pick one, and it's just random. If you do it long enough, it builds your top like 32 like it builds your list. And that's what we have made. And I was like, that would be a really good idea if someone could make that. And Bladen's a computer science major, so I guess he can make it. So I think it doesn't seem like this took them that long. I would like to do it for NBA players as well. Like,
I'd like to do it for NBA players too. I think there's but if there's some way to get people to like be able to share their results through Twitter, that might be too much. But like, I think that
yeah,
would
if
be
we
cool.
could get it like
Kind of like a Wordle type deal. I have to
right,
talk to them
exactly.
about it.
Like, but people can just screenshot and post it.
That's
That's my
also
thing.
true.
I think that's what we're gonna see people doing is screenshotting it and posting it. So I'd also like the Stay Hot logo to be on there just so people know where it's from.
Possibly, yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's what we're working. That's what we're in the lab developing that. So we're gonna be able to do that for quarterbacks. I'd like to do it for like maybe the best player on every NBA team, and then like who would you rather build your team around, or like maybe the 30 best young players or something like that.
Yes.
So, wide receivers, corners. If Bladen can do it quickly, and it doesn't seem like this took him that long, we can just. Anyway,
Bladen.
Everyone Venmo Bladen. Venmo Bladen. He's got his Venmo somewhere. If he gets this up seamlessly, just give him.
I'm trying so hard. I got him to apply to like have super followers so I can be a Bladen super follower and then.
Oh, he got to do that too. We got to be.
We got to be, and then like go on all his tweets and be like, "I love this Bladen."
Bladen.
Great. Tweet,
do the
buddy.
Produced by Zach, like Bladen the GOAT, no cap. Like just post that. Like all the Kanye tweets.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Has Bladen showed us the album yet? No. That we asked him the other day, and he was like, "It's almost done. I just have to re-record everything, and also only half the songs are done." Right? That's what he said.
No, it's it's what I've been hearing for a while now with Bladen. I'm assuming it will come out eventually. I don't know.
He's definitely working on it. It's definitely exists, but
I really don't know.
I'll give you $5 if you can pronounce my last name. Okay, let me look at it for a second. That looks like it is pronounced.
I have no idea.
Sure.
You know what's one thing I'm surprised that I think since I've started doing like TikTok and whatnot, I've never heard anyone mispronounce my name.
It's pretty easy.
In real life, it gets mispronounced fairly often, I feel like, but maybe it's not that hard to pronounce.
I mean, the thing is, it's easy to misread and makes it look like Spoon Hour is what, like, when you first look at it, it does look like, but like, and then once you're like, oh, there's only one O, I think the natural place you go with it is Spawn Hour. I've got the easiest name in the world, Theo Ash. If you mispronounce that, you're just dumb, or you don't speak English. Maybe that's okay if you don't speak English, but if you do speak English, yeah, Theo Ash. But anyway,
I love the corporate spawner account. Thank you. I like making new accounts on TikTok.
Yeah.
And now, like, yeah, I don't know, but you got anything else?
On the corporate Spawn Hour account, every day you should upload like till the Richard Jefferson interview. Just like count down, but don't elaborate that we're getting him on as a guest. Just be like counting down, and then like he's the end thing. So people will be like, is he gonna like kill him, or what happens when it's, and then we just have him on. I think there's potential.
Make a whole new Spawn Hour countdown account and just count down to something like, no, I like that idea.
A new Spawn Hour account. It's 1 million. We are counting down until the fog or whatever. Yeah.
Counting up, and it's just
counting 1. 2 days since this happened to me.
Oh, like those. Yeah.
I don't know. Thoughts on down bad Bears? I got the hey tweet from her, and I do not know anything about her or what she looks like, but she's a Bears fan, so I figured I had to respond with the Bears, lifelong Bears fan account. So that's my thoughts. That was I enjoyed seeing the quote tweets of that original tweet where people were like, why would you ever like some other girl in the comments like, you could do better than him, and they're talking about me. It's like, come on, man. Come on. But yeah,
Not that bad.
I'm not that bad. You could do better than him, man. Tough. I thought it was a funny situation though. Down bad Bears. Yeah, I'm not down bad. All right, she's down bad if anything. But yeah, she was devastated when she learned you were a Packers fan. Yeah, well, I'm a lifelong Bears fan. I don't know what you're talking about. I love the Chicago Bears. Anyway, what's my type of girl? Musician. Music, cool musician girl. That would be my type. You know, Theo, aren't you already taken? That's the thing. It's like, yes, I am, but like also my girlfriend knew that situation was going down, and I ran by. Like, would it be funny if I changed the lifelong Bears fans to respond to this? And she said yes, it would be funny. So yes. Anyway,
Like the idea of your type being cool girls.
cool girls. That's you gotta get. Theo wants a bass player. Yeah, girl, cool bass player, musician girl. That's what everyone's type should be. I'm describing Bladen. He plays guitar and he's also not a girl. He doesn't play bass. I told Bladen. Bladen has the worst taste in girls, which has been established. And it's like I told him, like, you need to get a bass player. But yeah. Anyway, this is totally got off the rails. This is the Theo show now.
That's what the questions are, though.
That's what the questions are. What if she plays the accordion? They deleted that one.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who plays the accordion. I feel like
I can play the accordion.
Can you play the accordion?
Yes.
Or can you play the accordion just enough to say that you can play the accordion and then it's like one thing?
I can play the accordion one thing, but I do own an accordion. Like I have an accordion.
I owned an accordion when I was a little kid too.
Okay. Did you own like a real one?
I don't.
Or like a little kid's one?
I don't know how to play the accordion at all. Not even one cool thing.
I can play piano.
You can, yeah, I've seen you play piano.
I can like legitimately play piano. I'm not that good at it anymore because I don't do it very much. And so I've forgotten most of the songs that I knew. So I don't have like anything memorized. So if you were like, oh, play a song for me, I have like two. But like if I work on something, I can like learn it, you know. Like I learned the Roses intro by Outkast. I learned Karen at the Liquor Store by Theo. Were you ever bullied? Probably like made fun of, like probably. This chat is bullying me like every day. I played the opening of Runaway. Runaway is the most overrated Kanye song. I would never play that on the piano. Midnight Sonata. I used to know how. Yeah.
I don't think I can play any instruments.
Tough.
I was in choir and orchestra. I played the cello for a little bit, but I don't know if I was fluent enough in cello to say that I can play it.
I played trombone coming up through like elementary school. I played a year of trombone. I played a year of viola. I actually was the best at trombone. Like if I stuck with trombone, I think I could actually be like a really good trombone player. But I didn't really like band that much. So I quit trombone.
Not my thing. I didn't like having to get like the practice thing signed. Did you have to do that?
Yeah, I did. And I also played piano through that time. So I had like two instruments and I was like, I don't know. What's your secret trait? He's a good ultimate frisbee player.
My secret?
Yeah, what's your secret
Actually,
trait?
do you want to know my secret trait?
What is it?
Or my party trick? I can do like little fangs. It's harder to do than you think.
You biting your lip?
Right? Well, it's not that easy. Everyone's like, I can do that. And then, can you? That's my secret trait.
What sports did I play growing up? I played a little bit of football. I played soccer. I played a little bit of baseball, mostly soccer, but I dabbled in baseball and football as well. but mostly soccer. That's the one I stick to it the longest. And then I did a bunch of theater. I was a theater kid. What the fuck was that? That's a wonderful question.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of hate for this, but it's like little things.
I can set my hand on fire for a little bit with if I get hand sanitizer.
I think almost anyone can do that.
Anyone can do that, but not everybody does, you know? Not everyone has the mental fortitude to put a lighter to their hand and set it on fire for a couple seconds. I was actually a tight end, which is why I didn't continue doing football, because the coaches were just like, "You're a tight end." And then I would get run over because I wasn't very big, actually. And then I was like, this fucking sucks. I'm gonna go play soccer. I was not physical enough. I was a case of just a misused. I was in a bad situation, you know. Get Jerry Tillery on the podcast. Get Sam Howell on the podcast. None of those dudes want to be on the podcast with us anymore.
Viola is the Westbrook of string instruments. What does that mean?
It always misses. Viola is kind of the most unimportant one. We'll watch. Oh yeah, I'm definitely watching the World Cup. I love the World Cup. I love the World Cup. I do block like Tebow. It was not good. I could have been Mike Gesicki, but we didn't have that deep of an offense. I also think I could have been a good quarterback. I never really played it. Just because I thought that was like a basic thing to do. But like I am a good thrower of the football, I think. Like I think that I have good mechanics and I read the field well enough. And I'm like, Matt, you can attest for this. We were throwing, like, I'm a somewhat accurate thrower of things. I can throw, I'm not a good shooter, but like cornhole, like just hitting thing, like I can throw a good spiral. I'm telling you, I can do, like, I could have been an okay quarterback. I had the mechanics down. I'm a good natural thrower of the football. Okay.
I can. I like the idea of cornhole transferring too.
Cornhole doesn't really transfer to quarterback, but I'm goated at cornhole, and I don't think you got Matt. You missed it. You were in the Matt was in Phoenix, and we went to a place that had a cornhole board out. And Matt left to like go to the bathroom or something. I drained, I think, 8 straight bags in the middle. And
yeah. Actually, you have a video of that, don't you?
I have several videos of me doing like going 4 for 4 or 8 for 8 or something like that. Theo literally just said, I'd be a good quarterback, even though I've never played it, but the position seemed basic to me. No, I think I could be good if I worked at it, because I think like I would be good at reading the field. And it's not like I've never thrown a football before. All right. So I've thrown it and I can get a good spiral on it. I got good mechanics. All right. That's all I'll say is like, I think I can really drive the ball and I've got good mechanics. I can throw a good spiral, a catchable football, and I think I can read the field. I've never done it, but I feel like I could have been good. Could I beat the Baker allegations? When bullets started flying, I'd keep my cool. Unlike Baker. Anyway, we've been doing this. This has been one of our longest.
This has been one of our longest.
It's just kind of been me answering random questions for the past hour of it.
That's what it always turns into a little bit. With the weren't shockingly we didn't stay on topic for 2 hours, but yeah, it was about enough NBA.
Yeah, we talked about NBA for a long time. Plus, there's not that much to talk about next week. By this time next week, it'll be the playoff matchups. We'll be all set.
Playoff time. That'll be big.
It'll be playoff time. So, yeah,
next live's going to be a big one.
Yes, for sure. And do you guys know who Nerd Sesh is? Chat, Nerd Sesh, the TikTok duo. They know a shit ton of shit about everything. I want to get them on. Those are 2 of actually my closest friends here at ASU. So they're really funny and they know ball. So I'm going to try to have them on for one of these NBA Wednesdays. Maybe that'll be next week. I'll ask them what they're up to. Carson has something on now, so that probably is going to be true next week as well. But anyway, a lot to look forward to in the NBA. someone twerk on the next live. Yeah, Logan Camden from Nerd Sesh will twerk. Trust me. They know literally everything. They do, man. Nerd Sesh is different. Like they know ball in multiple different ways. Like they're good at takes and everything and all that. Carson had a take a while ago that Jarrett Allen was better than Ayton after the finals, which was just a crazy thing to say, which is aged just super, super well. So they know like they have legit good takes, but they also have something that I don't possess, and that is like they have memorized leading
Yeah,
scorers,
I'm not even.
which I have not done. I have not like. I'm not someone who's going to be like, oh, I'm going to name every MVP since like that's just not something I spend a lot of time working on. They do, and they know a ridiculous amount. But they live literally in my building. They live, you know, they're in my building right now. So yeah, I hang out with them all the time. But yeah. Anyway, we can end it. We can end it now. For the third time. Three times the charm. Matt, do you want to close this out?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next Wednesday then.